All right, that might have been the last 49ers practice that we're allowed to fully watch of the season. As the regular season opener comes closer, the team closes off the team drill, the scrimmage portion part of practice, so we can only watch warm-ups, and the next time the 49ers are practicing is Wednesday, and they might actually close things off for the regular season. So I figured I'd come back out to the helmet for old time's sake, so I could tell you about what happened at practice today so you guys can soak this one in since it might be the last. No Danny Gray, no Brandon Ayuk, obviously. I don't know what's wrong with Danny Gray, but he was just running off on the side today. He wasn't in uniform, wasn't practicing. Obviously no Ambry Thomas with the broken forearm. We'll see how that all works out at the 53-man roster cut down. They're going to be IR stashes and different maneuvers. George Odom didn't practice today. He rolled his ankle during the pregame warm-ups of 49ers Raiders, so he only played on I think the very first kickoff, and then it didn't feel good, so they took him out. Shanahan said it's not serious for George Odom, but it is worth noting he wasn't in there today. His replacement was Malik Mustafa. More on him in a little bit. No D. Winters. We didn't talk to Shanahan today, so we'll still have to wait for the MRI result report on that. No John Feliciano, another IR candidate here at the cut down. No Kalia Davis, same boat for him. No Yetur Gross-Matos, he's probably not going on IR, but he's week to week. Juwan Jennings worked off on the side, coming back from the oblique. Isaac Yadam in uniform today. It looks like he's really, really close to coming back. Same thing with Christian McCaffrey, who's been working hard on the side. And Leonard Floyd, day-to-day, suffered the knee injury against the Raiders, but he was already back working on the field. Remember, Floyd's an Iron Man. He might be built out of rubber. It's really, really hard to injure Leonard Floyd and keep him out for a while. He's gone 108 straight games without missing. That's 6 or 7 seasons worth of an Iron Man streak for Leonard Floyd. And Aaron Banks, it seems that he might be getting closer with a broken pinky. He was out on the field today. Wasn't practicing, but was standing behind the offense with his teammates as the 49ers went through team drills. So that's the injury report from practice today. I talked a little bit earlier about the deep pass. Brock Purdy seems to be attacking downfield quite frequently. One thing is that at roster cutdown time, we mention guys like Ronnie Bell a lot. Is Ronnie going to be one of the receivers that makes the team? It didn't seem likely over the course of camp, and it probably isn't all too likely right now, but is he going to be able to stay in the building on the 49ers practice squad? And a performance like today's, where Ronnie Bell caught 7 catches, and he was tenacious on that punt return against the Raiders on Friday as well. Stuff like that fires up the 49ers sideline. If there's any question about who they want to keep around this building and keep on this team, stuff like that definitely helps and works in Ronnie Bell's favor. So it will be really interesting to see how the 49ers maneuver. They've got 16 practice squad spots to fill after they make the cuts, and I'm sure that we'll be surprised at least a couple times tomorrow. While Aaron Banks is out, they are rotating Nick Zakelj and Ben Bartch at the starting left guard position. I think it was a problem for San Francisco in front of Brock Purdy on Friday against the Raiders. And I mean, that whole left side is a problem until Trent Williams does come back for the 49ers. But right now, especially, you've got a backup in Jalen Moore starting at left tackle and a backup in either Nick Zakelj or Ben Bartch starting at the left guard position. It seems that Zakelj is the first option there right now, but I always go back to what Chris Foerster said a few weeks ago, that Zakelj is better at center and Bartch is better at guard as far as what each guy prefers to play. Yet they're still going with Zakelj over Bartch, which means that Zakel's playing at a position that he's not the most comfortable at. He's more comfortable at center, and that's just not good for the 49ers as they try to fortify the pass protection as much as possible in front of Brock Purdy. It is worth noting that Drake Nugent's been getting some second-team snaps for the 49ers, the center. So I think that they've been very, very pleased with how Nugent has progressed. I, of course, have a lot of video content from this past weekend where I talked about Nugent, Jarrett Kingston, another rookie who I think the 49ers have been very happy with, and we've been talking about Dominic Pooney for about a month now. He's a fixture at that right guard spot. I promised I'd talk about Malik Mustafa, who's getting a lot of reps here with the first team now while George Odom rolled his ankle. maybe wouldn't expect Mustafa to start week 1, even if Talanoa Hufanga's still out. That's a guy the 49ers have to make a decision on tomorrow. But I think it's going to be hard to keep Malik Mustafa off the field for long because he's making plays every single time he's out there. Today, Brock Purdy tried to throw an out pattern to George Kittle, who's really tough to cover because it's George Kittle. Malik Mustafa was all over it. It was a clean pass breakup. He made the incomplete symbol with his, like the signal with his hands. I mean, Malik looks like a seasoned vet on some of these plays out there, and he's no longer going against second and third teamers and guys who probably won't make the team. This was against George Kittle, an all-pro tight end, with an MVP finalist quarterback throwing the football, and Brock Purdy. So the ball of muscle, as we've called Malik Mustafa, a player who we've predicted would see some action for the 49ers sooner rather than later this year through some creative packages because of his versatility. Malik is already delivering as a first-team safety right now due to injury, but I think it's only a matter of time before he earns a much more prominent role on the field for the 49ers first team. Back at practice today, Ricky Pearsall and Spencer Burford. I didn't mention Burford in instant reaction. I talked about Pearsall. He had that catch in team drills. He's got the blue non-contact jersey on. He's got the sleeve on his shoulder. We'll see how quickly Pearsall can get out of that non-contact jersey. Again, they're slow playing this, as they should. This has recurred 3 times, once as a junior in college, once in OTAs, and once at the start of training camp. It's a subluxation of the shoulder, which is a partial dislocation of the shoulder. No structural damage to Ricky Pearsall's shoulder, but this type of thing they feel can continue happening if they don't give it time to heal, which is why it's not a rush for Ricky Pearsall. Now, you can't say that he's a bust because he hasn't had a chance to even play in the NFL yet. I will continue going back to this. Brandon Ayuk missed his first NFL game, week 1 of the 2020 season. So you got to get these rookies right. You got to get them physically right, got to get them mentally right, and it's okay to take your time when you're doing that. But Spencer Burford, back from the broken hand, filtered in with the second team at right guard. So while Spencer Burford has been out, Dominic Pooney has taken over that first team right guard spot, and that's obviously been one of the biggest movements of this offseason. Nicest play today, best catch, Eric Saubert caught a one-handed pass. I think it was from Josh Dobbs throwing it on the out pattern with great coverage from Tracy Walker III. In fact, it might have been the same play and the same type of coverage as the breakup that we saw from Malik Mustafa against George Kittle. But then Saubert ran the same thing. It probably was a second team rep with Dobbs in there. And Saubert had to make this one-handed catch with really tight coverage on the play from Tracy Walker III. All right, so maybe for the final time we saw 49ers practice this year. They might close it up moving forward, but first that 53-man roster cut down. It's happening tomorrow. I'm going to have a whole lot more, and when I get home here, when I get back to San Francisco, sit down in the studio, hopefully I have a few more CeeDee Lamb contract details before passing judgment. I want to see the fully guaranteed amount. Hopefully that comes out tonight. Maybe it will come out tomorrow. But we'll be able to further appraise how that might impact the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk. There's a lot of this crazy off-the-wall takes, knee-jerk reactions there that just really not worth getting into until you actually know the numbers. If there's one thing about the whole Brandon Ayuk situation that people should have learned by now, it's like, don't put the cart in front of the horse. Been wrong so many times, crying wolf. Anything related to the Brandon Ayuk situation, which the CeeDee Lamb contract is, you should probably wait for actual facts to come out. And when those facts are out, I will break them down in their entirety. All right, so long from the helmet. We'll talk to you soon.